Example 1, solving a linear inequality. We want to solve negative 3x plus 5 to be greater than negative 7. Okay, so let's go ahead and write this out. So the first step is we want to write out our inequality, which is negative 3x plus 5, and that's greater than negative 7. So we're going to solve this inequality just as if we would solve for an equation. We're going to isolate the variable x. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to subtract negative 5 to both sides. Okay, when we subtract negative 5 to both sides, we have negative 3x. And it's going to be greater than negative 7 minus 5, which is negative 12. Okay, now the next step is now to divide both sides by a negative 3. Now, whenever you either multiply or divide the inequality, the linear inequality, by a negative number, we immediately need to flip the inequality. So negative 3 divided by negative 3 is going to give us x, and negative 12 divided by negative 3 is going to give us 4. Okay, so there's two ways to be able to answer this question, but before we do that, it's important to know how to graph this. So when we graph, okay, what does this look like? Okay, so we're going to go to 0, okay, and then the next thing that we're going to do is locate where negative 4 is. Well, negative 4 is listed right here, okay. Now it's telling us that everything of x is less than negative 4, not equal to. So since it's less than, you're going to use a parenthesis because that means that it doesn't include the point. And then it's going to go into this direction, which is towards negative infinity, because that's going towards negative infinity. Over here is positive infinity. So now there's two ways to write the solution set. Okay, the first one is using interval notation. And that's what we just wrote up here. So if you notice, we're going to have a parenthesis and a parenthesis. And the reason why is because you write it in the order of exactly the way it looks up here. Well, it's going towards negative infinity, which is over to the left, so that we have negative infinity here, and put a comma, and then it goes all the way up to negative 4, and therefore that represents a shorter version of what that graph looks like. Okay, another way of writing this solution set is using the set builder notation. Okay, so you're going to use a brace, and this is going to be x, and then this line translates to be such that, and then you would just write what you got for the solution. So it would be x such that x is less than negative 4. So those are two ways to be able to write this solution set.